Howdy Banger fans, Blayne Smith welcoming you to an Overkill Reviews. It's a little special. We're reviewing on a Thursday. Is there a review coming out tomorrow? There is a review coming out tomorrow, but there's also a review coming out today. I wonder why. Yes, it's the new album from HOODED MENACE called the Tritonius Bell. It's out tomorrow, August 27th on Season of Mist Records. And we're talking about it today because Ginger is also releasing an album tomorrow, and our interview with them got like a bazillion views. So it seems like you guys like them, but I really like HOODED MENACE, and they're my favorite band, and there's 0% chance I'm not reviewing them. I mean, not only do I own a pair of HOODED MENACE sweatpants, I own a secondary backup pair of HOODED MENACE sweatpants still in a bag. So I've bioed HOODED MENACE before, so if you're curious to learn about them as a band, you can watch my previous review. So instead, here I'm giving you the definitive Blayne Smith HOODED MENACE album tier list. Let's go. Up first, we have Fulfill the Curse, the album that introduced the sound. That's an A tier. Why is it an A? Because after that came out Never Cross the Dead, just absolute perfection. That crisp HOODED MENACE sound, that's S tier. You know it. Up next, Effigies of Evil. The HOODED MENACE album, I kind of forgot because unfortunately I had to follow Never Cross the Dead. Good, but B tier. Darkness Dripped Forth came out after that, and that album was a real grower. It was HOODED MENACE with Funeral Doom mixed in. It had 4 really long songs. It was a cool, unique album, specific, but still really good. That goes in A. And then after that, I reviewed it. Ossuarium Silhouettes Unhallowed, an experiment with more like pretty doom on the doom side, and I'm still loving it. I still listen to it all the time. Massive success. That's an S tier, but we're talking about the new album. Where will it fall? Let's find out. But before that, I want to throw a quick shout out to Quasar Science, the best in the business. Is that a band? No, they make lights, really, really good lights. They light all of the stuff Banger does, and they just released these limited edition t-shirts. It's owned by metalheads, it's operated by metalheads. We love Quasar, so grab a shirt. If you make stuff, grab some lights. They're great. Keep it in the metal family and support metal companies. So what LASA does with HOODED MENACE, especially over the last 2 records, is tweak the style of doom in the death doom formula to retain that core HOODED MENACE sound, but mix things up a bit. And that core sound is based around the fact that LASA is an absolutely stellar guitar writer and has just amazing guitar tone. He has perfected that over years, and it's oof. And while they still may be kind of underground band, this is absolutely the reason why every important record label turns into J. Jonah Jameson and thinks HOODED MENACE albums are Spider-Man pictures when they walk in. I need more pictures of Spider-Man. I need more HOODED MENACE albums. That's kind of changed on this record though. Instead, the biggest experimentation has come on the death metal side of the death doom equation, which he hasn't really played with as much over the course of HOODED MENACE's career. On Tritonius Bell, the death metal is influenced by heavy metal. There's even a Wasp cover on the special edition CD. Why is there no special edition LP? God. Anyways, back to the review. Sorry, that's gonna happen a couple times. So yeah, I guess this kind of makes it almost a melodic death doom record. This isn't a surprise if you're a LASA stalker and listen to Sonic Cathedral's Volume 70 that he curated. There's Iron Maiden and Dio and Manowar and Anvil and all kinds of stuff on there. This definitely sounds like HOODED MENACE's take on a mainstream, kind of more accessible record. The production is cleaner than it's ever been. There are keyboards, and it's the nicest, most fun sounding record they've made to date. They even put upbeat, but not that upbeat, in the promo for the album. So why am I talking about that in best parts? Because Blayne hates catchy music. No, I just hate shitty catchy music. The impressive thing about this is that once again, Lasse has managed a stylistic shift that still absolutely screams what this band is about. The riffs are still great, he still has the best guitar tone in all of metal, and it still has a great amount of spooky atmosphere. It's just a different type of atmosphere. It's sort of like if the Blind Dead series made Friday the 13th Part 4. There's definitely some more slower, mournful stuff here, like track 4, Those Who Absorb the Night, but the overwhelming feel of this record is this is the most party Hooded Menace record you're ever gonna get. Admittedly, that party is exclusively weird dudes like me, but it's still a party if there's enough of us there and we're happy. Also, just a quick little nod, tip of the hat, that this album has both an intro track and an outro track that features actual music that you'll hear on the album and not just a whooshing sound. There is thunder and lightning over the intro track, but there's also a goddamn guitar. So instead of being like, when is this gonna start? It's like, ooh, cool, it builds you up, and then after the album's done, it kind of sets you down, which again, I'm just gonna chalk up to the fact that Lasse is an absolutely godlike songwriter. Have I mentioned that I really like Lasse yet? Just like Effigies of Evil, this album has the unfortunate task of following out what I would consider a perfect Hooded Menace album, and it doesn't quite live up to that weight. This is mainly because it doesn't present as cohesive a package. Scattered in the Dark, the last full track on the album, kind of brings back the ossuarium sound and the female vocals, and I feel like it doesn't quite fit with what the record has been doing up to that point. The transition just isn't as gradual and smooth, despite the fact that there has been a kind of a transition to that. It's not that I don't love that pretty spooky sound. In fact, another complaint would be that Ossuarium's sound was, like I said, perfect, and I could have done with another record of a little tweaking and experimenting directly with that sound instead of moving on, because I feel like maybe it could have been elevated even further and I would have had to give an album a 5.5 out of 5, which is the downside of the whole kind of trying something new on every record. And this is super nitpicky, but look at how great this cover art is. I absolutely love the cover art, but what the hell happened with that logo? I'm not gonna go into it. I mentioned that mixtape that Lasse curated, Sonic Cathedrals, and it's cool to see him exploring some of the less expected Sonic influences on a Hooded Menace album, and he absolutely pulls it off, even if it doesn't hit as my favorite Hooded Menace album. There's some punk on that mixtape too, and boy would I be hyped for a crusty Hooded Menace album like Lasse doing a Dark Throne Foad style turn. A Hooded Menace riff over a DB gallop would just get me all hot and bothered. Sorry, back to this album. It's really cool to see an album kind of that's more accessible, but still retains that core sound. This is kind of one of the reasons that I criticize a lot of big bands is, look, it can be done. It can be done, it can be done well. You can make a record that might get in some new fans, but in no way alienates the old fans, especially the rabid, crazy ones. He didn't compromise the Hooded Menace sound. He just made the Hooded Menace sound, yeah, a little more upbeat, and so as always, hail Lasse. Yeah, rating 4.5 out of 5 skull bells, and a quick little drop that into the A tier on our tier chart. And a quick little drop in to remind you, we have a Patreon campaign. You can give us some bucks so we can keep making content like this. And hey, that was my review. You guys, I love talking about Hooded Menace. You guys have really loved talking to me about Hooded Menace. You tag me in every one of the Instagram posts, anything related to them, and I love it. So let's get down in that comment section and go crazy. But we got a little bit left. We're not done. We got shoutouts. Yes. Shoutouts time. So the first band, I don't know, man. Ænigmatum, weird letters. Deconsecrate on 20 buck spin. This is really cool, really impressive death metal. I almost want to describe it as tech death, but the band is like, we don't listen to tech death. Why is everybody saying this sounds like tech death? Because you're too good at your instruments. Devoid of Thought, Outer World Graves on Everlasting Spew Records. Look at that cover, space death metal. You know I gotta shout that out. And we gotta put some doom in there. The Ancient Doom. In hoc signo vinces. It's an independent release release. It probably would have been in Metal Monthly, but I emailed them and they didn't get back to me. I don't know if they speak English though, so maybe that's why. And hey, just a quick shout out, because our pals at Shadow Kingdom Records just released the physical copy of Hour of 13's Black Magick Rites. So if you dug that album, I really liked it. Came out last year. You can finally get your greasy paws on a copy. Hold it. Give it a sniff. Thanks for coming out.